Okay. So in last class, we discussed about operators and the conditional control statements, and we have discussed about if statements. We discussed about if statement and else statement. We discussed about if statement, else statement, and if else if statement, right? So today we'll discuss about the switch statement. We'll discuss about switch statement. Okay, we'll discuss about switch statements. What is the reason for using the switch statement? Why the switch statement has been implemented, and what is the behavior of the switch statement, right? What is the behavior of the switch statement, and what is the syntax for the switch statement? We'll look into this. Okay. So coming to the switch statements. Coming to the switch statement. Okay. So switch statement allows you to select the main reason why we use switch statement is it will allow you to select, okay, one action among action among multiple actions during program execution during program execution. So basically, okay, you can think something like this. Assume that you have a playlist of songs. Okay, you have a list of songs, you have a good playlist, okay, which you created, which you created. Let's say you have, okay, 100 songs in the list. You have 100 songs in the list. Okay. then then in the 100 song, okay, you have, what you can do is you can do a switch from one song to another song. You can do a switch from one song to another song by clicking on next. By clicking on next. Or if you just leave it like that, just like that. Okay, you're playing your song, your list full list of songs, and you are just left the place something like this. Okay, you left the something like that. So what happens? It will play one by one. The songs will play by the songs will play by one, right? So, so now switch is a kind of selection statement. Switch is a kind of selection statement. Let's say you have 100 songs, you have 100 songs in your list, 100 songs in your playlist. You can select in which song you wanted to play, which song you wanted to play. I wanted to play a song which is called 20. Okay, out of my hundreds list, the song number 20 I wanted to play. The song number 20 I wanted to play. So so you can directly go to 20, you can select 20 and you can play this song. You can play the song. And there onwards, the next song 21, 22, 23, 24, something like this, the songs gets played. The songs gets played. This is the default behavior, right? So switch also works in the similar manner. Switch will also work in the similar manner. Okay, switch will allow you to select one action among multiple actions during the program execution. Assume that you have multiple actions that you wanted to perform. Okay, there are multiple choices that you have on your program. Okay, so now you have to choose one out of that multiple choices. Then you can go for the switch statement. Then you can go for the switch statement. Okay, so switch statement, using switch statement, it will allow you to select one action among multiple programs, sorry, multiple actions during the program execution. Okay, I hope I'm clear. So just think as you have 100 songs in the list. You have 100 songs in the list. So where you can choose, okay, all these 100 songs are like, you consider 100 songs as a actions. There are 100 actions. There are 100 actions. So out of this, I wanted to select one. Out of this, I wanted to select one. So the selection I made is 20th song. The action that I made is 20th action. So from there onwards, the next actions will be performed. From there onwards, the next action will be performed. Okay. So I chose to start from this. I chose to start from this. And from here onwards, the next list will continue. Similarly, when you have multiple actions, now your switch statement, okay, gives you a chance to select one action one action among the multiple actions during the program execution. Okay. So now what is the syntax for switch statement? What is the syntax for the switch statement? When you look at the switch statement syntax, something like this. There is a keyword called switch. There is a keyword called switch, and this will take an input as a variable, or it can take an expression, or it can take a value, or it can take a value. Okay. So this, it will start with this keyword called switch, and it will take some input. It will take some input. What is this input? Is the selection of action, selection number. So it's like 20, or whatever the number that you select, 30, song number 20 or song number 30. Okay, something like this. It takes the input as it takes the input as the selection. Okay, and then the block starts, okay. So in switch statements, you will have the case statements. Case and the value number of the case. So this is like song 1. Okay, and then under case statement, you will have whatever the code that you want to execute. Statements, Java statements, which code you wanted to execute. So when I say 20, so it's like song 20, and the song gets executed. And if you wanted to stop the song, or if you want to break that loop, right, you can use an unconditional control statement here, a break. What happens if you use a break? What happens if you don't use a break? We will see that. Okay, so you can have multiple cases like this. And then statements, then break statement, and so on. It continues. And in case whatever the song that you have selected, let's say the selection you have given us 20, and in the playlist, if the song is not available, the 20 number song is not available, then a default song has to be played. Okay, a default statement, a default code has to be executed. For that, you can put a default block. And the statements you can pass inside it. Okay, so simple to say, the default block is like the else block in inside if in if statement. Simple to say, inside if statement. If any of these cases didn't match, then the default statement will get executed. The default statement will be executed. Okay, so this is the syntax of the switch statement. This is the syntax of switch statement. So how the switch statement will work? So first it will validate the expression. Okay, it will validate the expression, or it will take the value, or it will take the variable as an input. And after that it will search in the cases, okay, with the number what you have passed. Whether I'm okay, for example, I'm sending the number as 1 here. Okay, then case 1. So this, it found the case. Then these statements will be executed. Assume that if I passed 2, then from case 2, the logic will be executed. Okay, the logic will be executed, something like this. Okay, and and here one thing to remember, you can pass you can pass only integer values, only int values as an input to switch statement. Switch will allow, or switch will only take the integer values, which means you can pass byte values, you can pass short values, you can pass char values, and you can pass int values. Till int you can pass inside switch statement will accept only this type of data as an input. If you try to pass long type data, then you will have problems. Only allowed types are till integer. Okay, and and there is another type called enum. This is added in Java 5, and from Java 7 onwards you can pass a string type data also as an input. From Java 7, a string type data also can be passed as an input to the switch statement. So whatever the input that you're passing here, it can be of int type or enum type, okay, or it can be of string type. It can be of string type. It can be of string type. So so that is about switch statement. So the rules again, will rewind the rules. So switch statement will take an expression or a variable as, or the direct value as an input. Okay, so the value must be of int type or lower than int type, or it can be of enum type from Java 5, or it can take string data as an input. So if the matching case is found, if the matching case is found, from there onwards, all the cases it will start executes. All the cases it will execute. If you mention the break statement, then only that particular case will be executed, and it will stop. Okay. If you mention a break statement there. Okay. If none of the cases are matched, if none of these cases are matched, then the default statement will be executed. These are the rules for switch statement. Okay. So let us see that in the action, whatever we have discussed now. So I'll write down all the points. Please take a note. If you have something on your notes or something. Switch allows to select. Switch allows to select one action among multiple actions during code execution, during program or code execution. Switch will take int or lower than int data type values as input. Switch can accept enum from Java 5. Switch accepts string type data, string as input, can type from Java 7. Switch contains case statements. If matching case is found, then it will start execution. It will start executing from the matching case. So next, if no matching case is found, then switch will look for default statement. Default statement. And default statement block is default statements. Block of code is executed. If we define, or if we define a break statement, if we define break statement inside case statements, inside case statements, then only that matching case, only that matching case will get executed, will get executed. Okay, it is recommended to have, it is recommended to have default statement, default statement at the end of switch statement. At the end of switch statement. So these are the rules and regulations of switch statement. Okay, so let us look into that once again. Switch allows you to select one action among the multiple actions during the program or code execution. Switch will take int or lower than int type data type values as input. From Java 5 onwards, enum. Enum is one more class type. It's of one reference type. What is enum? We'll discuss in the lang package. Okay, switch can accept string type, string type data also as an input from Java 7 onwards. Switch contains case statements. If matching case is found, then the code will start executing from there. Okay, then if no matching case is found, then it will look for the default statement. Switch will look for the default statement, and default statement, if you have defined, then that block of the default statements will get executed. Okay, so if you use a break statement inside any of the case, if that matching case is found, only that particular case gets executed. If only that particular case gets executed. Okay. And always it is recommended to have the default statement at the end of the switch statement, like at the end of the switch statements, because wherever the matching case is found, only that gets executed, right? Why it is recommended to keep in the default at the last, I'll let you know during the program. You'll understand that. So it is recommended to have all your cases, you define it, and at the end a default can be placed in the switch statement. Okay, so let us write one small code. Let us write one small code to understand this logic. So I'm going to C drive where my program. practice. So I'll open up a new document. So I'll change this to switch. I'll change this to switch statement. Now, what I will do here, I'll define the logic for switch statement. So for that, first I'll define a variable. First I'll define a variable which is called 3, which is called 3. So now assume that I am trying to write a code. Okay, I am trying to write a code to print just the day. So based on the number, I wanted to print the day. So whether if it is starting from 1, so how many days we have? 7 days, like Sunday, Monday, Tuesdays or not, right? So based on the number, it has to print the day. It has to print the day. So that's the logic I'm trying to implement it now. So this code will just select the day based on the number that you enter, based on the number that you enter. So now I have now I have 7 days. I have 7 days. So which means now I have 7 cases that I have to write. 7 cases that I have to write. So I'll write a switch statement. I'll write a switch statement. So the switch statement I have defined. So switch statement can take the input as int or lower than int type. Int or lower than int type. So a is of int type. I'll just pass as a as an input. A as an input. So now I'll define the cases. I'll define the cases. So how? Using a case statement. Using a case statement. I'll start the case with 0. I'll start the case with 0. So here I am writing system.out.println. So for 0, I am giving the day as Sunday. And similarly, I'll copy the same code. So I'll just give a space just for representation. Space doesn't matter. So for to keep it clean and neat, I'm giving a space. So 0, 1, the case is 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 5 and this is 6. So Sunday, this is Sunday case 1. When the day is 1, then it should print as Monday. Then it should print as Monday. Here it is Tuesday. So here it is Wednesday. Thursday. Friday. Then Saturday. Right? So all the cases I have written, then if it is if the number matches, now if the input is if the input I'm passing it here, the input value is 3. The input value is 3. Now it will look for these numbers, case numbers, where it is matching. Switch will look for which case is matching. Okay, the number I entered is 3, but here it is 0. It is not matching, so it will not execute. Here it is 1. The number is equivalent to 1. 1 is not equal to 3, so this case will not get executed. 2. This code also will not get executed. Now case 3. Yes, it found this case here. Okay, it found the number here, whatever the number that I entered. So from here it will print, okay, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and Saturday. Friday and Saturday. Okay. So in case if I'm entering apart from any of these six numbers, the numbers that I have to enter from 0 to 6, right? 0 to 6. What if I enter 10? What if I enter 10? So now I should get some output as an input. I should get some output as an input. If I enter anything apart from these six numbers, okay, by default, I should explain that, okay, you have given a wrong input. You have given a wrong put. Okay, wrong. Okay, input mismatch. Bus input mismatched. Please enter the numbers from 0 to 6. Numbers between. I can say numbers between, okay, 0 to 6. Okay, something like this. If I'm not entering any of the, for example, now it is 3. Now it is 3. If it is 3, from 3, it will try to execute it. It will try to execute it. Okay. Now for some reasons, okay, I'll put a breaks. Okay, I'll just remove the default statement. I'll remove the default statement for the time being. Now I'll save this code. Now I'll save this code. I'll save this as switch statement. I'll keep this in a new document. So copy this. I'm not defining the default statement first. I'm saving the code as switch statement.java. The code is being saved now. So this has now only the 6 statements. I'm not, if anything apart from 6, if I'm executing, if I'm providing as an input, it will not say anything to me at the moment. Right now, the number, assume that this is the number coming from somewhere from the system. Okay, from somewhere from the front end, and that number we are passing to switch statement. Okay, so now open the command prompt. Let us try to compile the code. Java C switch statement.java. The code has been compiled. Now I'll try to execute. You see now now the entered number is 3. If you look at the code, the entered number is 3. So where is it matched? It matched at the day called Wednesday. From Wednesday, all it has print, all it has executed. Okay, think that this is the song number 3, and from song number 3, all the rest of the songs in the playlist, it got executed, it got played. Okay, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay, what if I enter apart from that, think that I have got the input as 99, the input as 99. So there is no case number that we have defined with the number 99. There is no logic written for the case called 99. So now let me save this code and try to compile it. It will not give any problem. It will compile. Okay. Now, when I run the code, there is no output that I get because that matching case it didn't find. That matching case it did find. So in such cases, we can go for the default statement. Now, I'll copy this default logic. I'll keep inside. At the end, I'll keep it. At the end, I'll keep it. Now you see what happens. Now I'll try to compile the code. You see, it clearly says, okay, now only the default statement got executed because none of the cases are matched. None of the cases are matched. Now, if you look at this, boss, you are giving a wrong input. It says there is an input mismatch. You have to enter the numbers between 0 to 6. 0 to 6. This is how the validation happens. Okay, if none of the cases are matched, okay, if none of the cases are matched, then it will give you an output saying that you have to enter only between this. So you get an output. You get an output. So now I'll change this number to 1. You see from where it is matching, from where the case is matching. From there onwards, all the case statements are getting executed. All the case statements are getting executed. Let me save this. Compile the code, run it. Now you see, now if you see, even though even now that this default statement is also getting executed, right? This default statement is also getting executed, which is not correct. Which is not correct. I have given a correct input. This time I have given a correct input. You asked me to enter. You asked me to enter between 0 to 6. The code has executed, but now the default statement also is getting executed. The default statement is also getting executed. So I don't want this statement to get executed. I don't want this statement to get executed. So after it executes the last case, after it executes the last case, okay, then I wanted to break that. I wanted to break that statement there itself. I want to halt the execution of the code there itself. I don't want this default statement to get executed. So I'll put a break statement here. So now case 1 here it matched. So it will print this, it will print this, it will print this, it will print this, this and this. Now after printing that, it's found that, hold on, okay, hold on, don't execute from here onwards. Break means, okay, stop it here and don't execute the next line of codes. Okay, it will halt the program here itself. It will break the loop. It will break that program loop here itself. Okay, now this one, it will not print. Earlier, if you see, it has printed this also. It has printed this default statement also, which is not correct. I have given a right input. I have given a right input. It should at least, it should print till here and it should end. But default statement is also getting executed. So which is not correct. So what I'm saying is, once I reach the end of, if it reaches the end of these case statements, then break it. Then break it. The loop, you break it there. This time I'm compiling the code, trying to run the code. Now you see exactly the code works how I expect. For example, now if I use the case 99, now if I use the code 99, now 99 there is no case in our program, so it should execute the default statement because the cases didn't match. Now it is executing exactly. So break statement will break that continuity of the program. It will break the continuity of your program. Assume that now I kept the break statement here. What if I keep it here? What if I keep it here? Right? So assume that I have given the case ID here as, or the input I have given as 1. The input I have given as 1. So now it will see case 0 didn't match, case 1 matched. So this statement gets executed. This statement gets executed. This statements also get executed. And this statement also will execute. Then it's fine. Okay, break. So the continuity of the program will be broken here. Okay. So now case 5, case 6, and the default statement will not get executed. Default statement will not get executed. Okay, so now let us see that. I'll clear the screen, trying to compile the code again and running the code. Now you see it has printed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and it didn't print the next lines of code. So the case ID 1 it found, Monday it has print, Thursday, Wednesday, okay, Tuesday till Thursday it print, then it has broken the loop. It didn't print the Friday, Saturday, or the default statement. Okay, so each each case can have a break statement. You can have multiple break statements, like only one break statement allowed in the case. Only one break statement allowed in the case. And what happens if I mention the break case in the front? Something like this, right? So you can mention one break statement inside the case. So we'll see that. These are the different scenarios. These are the different scenarios. So each case can have one break statement. Okay. Even the default also can have the break statement. So now what happens when each case, when I mention a break statement, for each case I'm mentioning the break statement. Simple. Now, if you see, for each case, there is a break statement that I have defined, right? There is a break statement that I have defined. So now what happens? It will find for the matching case. So input, it will take the input. One is the input. So case one, it has matched. Previously, without, if you don't mention the break statement, what happened? It has executed from all the cases from there onwards. All the cases from there onwards. Now it will execute this statement and then it found break statement. So only this case gets executed. Only this case gets executed. Rest of them are ignored. Rest of them are ignored. Let us see that. Code is compiled. Now only one got executed because the input it received as one. The input it is received as now. For example, if I find 99, if I find 99, if I enter 99, code compiled, the default statement. Entered 5. Now only one statement. Compiled, executed. So for the day 5, it is Friday is assigned for it. Friday is assigned for it. Something like this. Okay. Now assume that there is no break statement. There is no break statement. I'm removing the break statement. So think that this is how you have written the code, assuming that if the case matches from there onwards, your song has to play. Your song has to play, or your day has to print. In our case, the day has to print. But this time, the default statement I'll mention over the top. It's not okay. The default statement I'm mentioning at the top of the switch statement. There is no rule or mandatory that it has to be okay. It has to be the last statement. Let's think. Okay, the default statement I'm passing it as the front, the very beginning. The code has been compiled, which means there is no rule that a default has to be at the end of all the cases. Default can be anywhere in the program within the switch statement. Within the switch statement. Okay. So it is, but it is a recommendation to be followed. But it is a recommendation to be followed. Always it has to be at the end. Always it has to be at the end. Why? The reason I'll tell you. Think that here you have the case is 5. The match, okay, the case, so the A value is 5. So switch will get 5 as an input and there is a matching case and this gets, these two gets executed. These two gets executed, right? Let us see that. Friday and Saturday. Only two got executed. Now, assume that you got an input as 99. You got an input as 99. Now, when you get input as 99, when you get input as 99, so the case is, no case is available. No case is available with 99 number. So now the default will execute, the default get executed. Then, then you see after executing this, since it didn't find break, the next cases also it will try to print. The next cases also it will try to print. Let us see that. You see, your program is misbehaving. It is saying input is mismatching, enter the number between 0 to 6, but the code has been executed. It has given all the data. It has given all the data. So there is a data leak. There is a data leak. So always the default statement has to be at the end. Default statement has to be at the end, or else you have to mention a break statement here, or else you have to mention a break statement. If you mention the break statement, only this will get executed and the rest of the logic will not get executed. None of the cases are matched. So then it will look for the default case. Default case will get executed and then it will break it there. Okay. So, so if you forget to mention this break statement, if you forget to mention this break statement, the code is exposed or your data is exposed. Your data is exposed. Your application will misbehave. It will misbehave. So so instead of avoiding all these confusions, if you forget to mention this break statement, then the rest of the code also gets executed, or else you have to put a break statement. So it is recommended to keep this at the end, because wherever it is started matching, for example, none of the cases are matched, so default started executing. From here onwards, if you don't mention the break, all the cases, okay, every line of code will get executed. Every line of code will get executed. Okay. So now I mentioned break. Now I mentioned the break inside default statement, and I'm trying to compile the code. Now you see none of the cases are matched. So break statement will help you to break that loop. Break that loop. But ideally switch is not a loop, it's a selection statement. Okay, from where it has started, from where it has matched that case, all the cases will get executed from there. Any questions on this? Any questions? So one last thing, if you mention the break, after this, don't write any logic after the break statements. Okay, let's say ends the program here, something like this. So now case value will become 9. So the input that I'm giving to switch statement as 99. Okay, none of the cases are available. Now it will go to default statement. It will see, it will print this, and then it will break. The loop or the program execution will stop it here. It will stop the program execution over here. Then what happened to this line? Will this line get executed or not? So this code will never get executed. This code will never get executed. So your compiler will give you a warning here. Okay, it will give you an error here. Let us try to compile the code. You see that there is an unreachable statement. There is a unreachable statement because in its lifetime of your program, this code will never be reached. Okay, you mentioned a break here. You mentioned a break statement here. After that, you are writing some program again. You are writing some logic again. So you're saying stop the program over here, and you still have the logic here inside the inside the block of code. Inside the def, it can be in any block. It can be in case also. It can be in case one, case zero, any case. Once you mention the break statement, after that, don't write any logic. Don't write any logic. The syntax is correct. The syntax is absolutely correct. There is no problem with the syntax. Okay. So there is no problem with the grammar. There is no problem with the grammar, but there is a rule that is there in the compiler. It's simple. Okay. When this code gets executed, you are saying stop the program here, stop the program here. My program execution has to be halted here. Then when this code will get executed? In its lifetime, it will never get executed. Then why do you need to write that code? Why do you need to write that logic? Right? So that is where your compiler says you have a unreachable code, you have a unreachable statement in your program. At line number 12, there is an error. What is that error? There is an unreachable statement. What is that? This is the statement. This is the statement, and which means unreachable means in its lifetime. In the lifetime of the program, this code will never get executed. Then why do that? Okay, so it is asking us to remove that unreachable code. So always you do the program first, and break statement you make sure that you have at the end. Break statement must be the last statement, last statement of your cases. Okay, okay, because after this, if you shouldn't write any logic. After that, you shouldn't write any logic. You should write the logic before that. You should write the logic before break statement. Now this is purely valid. Code has been compiled. Now you see the program ends here. So that's about switch block. Any questions on this? These are called scenarios. You have to do experiments with this. Take anything. Okay. Now instead of the variable, you can directly pass the value here itself. This also, it is also valid. Okay. The code has been executed. What if I pass? What if I make this value as long, which is of higher type? And if I pass a value a here. Now let me try to compile the code. See, you get incompatible types. Incompatible types. Only lower than int type or integer type value, it is allowed. It is allowed. So what if I pass a string type data? String a equal to 99. Code is been, you see, when I'm passing when I'm passing string type data, the case numbers it is expected to have it as string type. The case numbers it is expecting to be have string type, because the data or the input selection I'm making it as string type. So these cases has to be of string type. Just I'm keeping that inside double quote. So because the string data is represented in double quote. Code has been compiled, executed. What if I mention this input as 6? So string is also, so now this is no more a number. This is no more a number. It is of string type data. It is of string type data. The code is executed. So that's about switch block. Practice this. write your own code, try to write your own code, test all this, test all this utility or test all these features of switch block in Java. Any questions? Assuming there are no questions, if there are no questions, then we'll wind up the session for today and we'll meet again in tomorrow's session. Thank you.